Hello everyone, and welcome back to Secondhand Sellers, where we talk about thrifting, resale, and all things secondhands. I'm Klayton.
And I'm Sarah. Thanks for joining us again this week.
Yes, thank you. Today we are going to be talking about the resale ethics we hate. These are the things that drive us as resellers crazy.
Basically, reselling practices that are bad practice.
Yes, the ones that give reselling a bad name.
And resale and reseller is kind of a dirty word. For a lot of people.
A lot of people.
We'd love to hear if you hear flack about reselling, if people are not nice because they find out
leave all the nasty names for us down in the comments below, please. Tell us what we are, dirty people reselling
Yeah,
things.
we'd love to hear other people's experiences on this, because that's the impression both of us have gotten, that to be a reseller is seen as something not good.
It's a four-letter word.
It is, and the funny thing is people love going to vintage malls, antique malls. Where do they think these people get this stuff from? Like, they're sourcing the same way we would, just for specialty things. And so, I don't know why it's gotten a bad name overall, but I can tell you some of the people that contribute to this.
Yes.
So, what practices do you hate?
I'm going to sneeze. I'm not going to.
Or not.
No.
Okay, false alarm.
Anyway.
I hate that. I hate that. It's not a reselling practice, but I do hate false sneezes. All right, go ahead. What drives you bananas about dirty resellers?
The over pressuring to get a better deal.
Okay, do you have an example of this that you've seen?
I really don't like when I go to a garage sale and somebody's trying to haggle down way lower than what the person who's selling the item is asking, because yes, it means a better margin for the person buying it, but in reality, you're getting a good deal anyway at the garage sale generally, or at the estate sale. There is some gray room in there. For example, I will go and I'll bundle up items. Yes. Like I picked up a bunch of tools in the summer at this one sale. She had them marked individually for like $3 each, and I was getting 4 of them. I asked if I could take all 4 for $10. Like, there's room
There's nothing wrong with asking.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with asking. And she was like, you know what, sure. I got the $10, I paid $10 for those, but I bought other stuff too, and I paid full price for everything else. It's not a hard press, I want a better deal because I can. It was just more like, I would just be more comfortable paying $2.50 as opposed to $3 for every item.
Yeah, and it's okay to ask. Like, if something's marked at 10 and you really don't want to pay 10, it's not like a crime to say, hey, would you take 8?
Yeah.
But you want to do that politely. You don't pressure them, and don't you dare not take no for an answer. If they say no, it means no.
Yeah. The one that really bugs me is, I heard this over the summer. Somebody was trying to buy, I don't even remember what it was. Some type of toy or something. And they brought up it would be cheaper at Goodwill. It doesn't matter what the thrift store is selling at. This was a garage sale. The person at the garage sale can price it however they want to. It's their stuff, their items. It just put a bad taste in my mouth. Yeah. But that's just, when you're already getting a good deal, I don't know why you would badger the person to get a better deal. And I do. I'll lump up items and I'll go, you know what? I'm already paying X amount. Would you mind if I paid a little less?
And bundling is a great way to do this.
Bundling, great way, because it gets a lot of inventory out of their stuff.
And most people were holding a sale, garage sale, estate sale, especially if it's the last day. That's what they want. They don't want to pack that stuff back up.
They want all of it gone, so it's understandable. It's different when they're going, hey, you've got these DVDs priced at $3. Really, they should be $1. I'll take these for $1 each. And it's like,
don't be condescending.
Why?
At all.
Why?
Not a good look.
If you don't want to pay $3 for it, don't pay $3 for it. Go somewhere else.
No.
It's just one of the things I heard during the summer.
No, that's a big one. Anytime you see that, like, overt aggression or, like you said, badgering and not taking no, some people won't stop.
Yeah.
Even once they're told no. And a lot of, it's funny because, like, especially when you're bundling, a lot of sellers, like I said, estate sales, garage sales, any sort of independent seller like that, a lot of them will be happy to work with you, especially if you're just asking for a couple of bucks off.
Yeah.
Or it's the last day of the sale and it closes in 30 minutes. They're going to give you a better deal.
Yeah.
If you are buying a lot, like, of course, why would they care $2 if you're going to buy all of this stuff?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times they'll work with you on that. Sometimes they'll even be like, hey, do you want to get this? I'll give this to you for a good price.
Yeah.
Because
sometimes.
they just want to get rid of it. But yeah, I don't like pushy people in general in life. But
I think one of the worst ones I saw. You've
seen this in person.
Yeah, somebody was trying to sell a quad. Okay, I don't remember what they priced for it because I don't have the means to resell quads, so I'm not even going to look at it. I don't even have the
space for it.
Like, I wouldn't even know where to begin on pricing or anything, even fixing it up. And he came up, he said, "Is this for sale?" And they said, "Yes." He said, "Would you do $200 off what you're asking?"
Before you even found out what they were asking?
Yes.
Oh, that is weird.
It was weird because it didn't have a price on it. It just said for sale. And he just, "Would you do that?" And they were like, "Well, it's not ours. We got to talk to somebody." And
a normal person at least asks the price first.
It was just really bizarre.
It was weird.
Yeah. So they could have been asking $500 and they actually posted it on Facebook, but I don't know. It was just very aggressive the way he came about it. It was weird.
Yeah, I don't like that
What
either.
about you? What's the...
Okay, so one that really burns me up, and this isn't something I see, it's a common problem, and it's not something that I've, like, seen while I was out reselling secondhand stuff, but I don't like concert ticket scalpers.
Yes.
Whether this is bots or people who buy up the best seats and then try to sell them for 5 times the price, I hate that. To the point that I wish it was regulated. Like, I wish the concert tickets had, like, a price stamped on them and that they were not allowed to be sold for more than what the venue and the artist agreed upon.
Yeah.
Because it's so wrong. Like, it's people who they're not even interested in the concert.
Yeah.
They don't want to go. Or it's shows the same way. This happens with plays too. And other kinds of live entertainment.
Sports and a lot of entertainment.
I hate that. I think it should be, there's a agreed upon, like, this is a ticket, if this seat is worth this much, and I feel like it should be able to be sold for.
Yeah.
It makes me mad. Because there will be seats sitting empty that a fan could have taken, but because somebody decided they wanted to be greedy, they bought them up. Sometimes with bots, literally having a computer program, purchase them the second they're open, and somebody who actually would have enjoyed it has to miss out.
I think
it makes me mad.
As a word, overall, scalpers are dirt.
Yeah, and I am not by any means saying that if you get a set of tickets to something and you can't go, that you shouldn't resell them. No. If you get them, sell them for face value. Plus, if you want to tack on a few dollars because you had fees or you had to drive to get them, you had to pick them up at the box office or something, fine. By all means, list them for whatever you paid.
Taking advantage of supply and demand over items or events, you don't need to. Like, yes, people make money off of it, but you shouldn't really be earning money off of that. That's just advantage manipulation.
And it blew up with the Taylor Swift thing. It was a mess. And that was a whole antitrust thing, some possibility the Ticketmaster associates were doing some hinky things. But just in general, I don't care if it's a big corporation, which have their own set of ethical issues involved in a lot of corporations, but I don't care if it's that or if it's Joe Blow going and buying 10 tickets and trying to scalp people. It makes me mad. Because I might be the person who wants to go. Yeah. I go to live shows and I don't know if you do, but we have it's your sister-in-law, but it's my friend. She goes to live shows. we all know people who like live shows, and it's just crap that they might have to miss out because someone else decided they wanted to sell. And it's not even a small margin. It's not like they're trying to make 10%. They're trying to make like 200%.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
And the only reason they do it is they get away with it.
Yeah, no, there's no laws or anything to...
Yeah.
Well, they skirt them or whatever. But that's my big one.
And the same goes for tech. When it's new, it's in the store, and people go and they buy 10 of them. They don't need 10 of them. They're not going to use 10 of them. They're going to resell them. And
hoarding already limited things. Mm-hmm. Yes,
And I understand when people are like, resellers are trash because of individuals that go out and they scalp items, they scalp tickets. When you look at it objectively, you're like, oh man, a lot of people do that. However, I feel like what we do as resellers are reintroduce items to the market. Because what we do is we find items that people bought, discarded, or resold, and reintroduce them for the masses via our selling options. So
it's just, I don't know. And we're not going in and buying everything, and we're not, I don't know. It just, limited supply things really annoy me. When it's things like that, that lots of people want, and then you got one person in there impeding that. And like a concert, that only happens once, and then it's gone. It's not like, some secondhand thing. Oh, I bought a glass at the Goodwill and I'm reselling it. Yeah, I'm jacking up the price on that to the market value on eBay versus the market value at the thrift store. But that's not the only one of the thing in the entire world.
Yeah.
And I don't know. The concert thing and the ticket thing really, really, really annoys me. But also, along the lines where you were saying, in the great 2020 toilet paper debacle, I remember hearing about a guy who, did you hear about this guy? He got shamed hardcore for it. He bought up so much toilet paper and, hand sanitizer and stuff, and they were trying to, they were going to rural, Dollar Generals, small stores in places where the locals, that's the store they had, and they were buying it in mass.
Oh my God.
Buying it all, and then trying to, resell it at, an unfair price.
Yeah.
And sometimes creating artificial scarcity. That's the other thing, is sometimes these things aren't actually genuinely scarce, but because people are hoarding them, and some are hoarding because they're the toilet paper thing. I heard that most toilet paper is locally produced, and so there wasn't really a shortage, but there was probably two kinds of people. There was the people who were panicking and scared, and so they hoarded it. Yeah. And then there were the people who were greedy and were hoarding it to resell at a jacked up price. And that person is dirty.
That happened recently with sriracha sauce. Did you hear about that? Yeah. Sriracha sauce, where they were producing it or getting their peppers from, they had an issue, I think, with the pepper plant.
It was a bad year.
It was a bad year.
I didn't hear that.
And so they were selling individual bottles of that sriracha sauce for $40 on eBay, which is ridiculous because you can go to Walmart and get it for $3. And I ended up going to my local Meijer to be like, all right, this has to be a joke. No, all the sriracha sauce gone. And you go on eBay, they were selling for $20 to $40 a bottle. And it's why? Well, because that bad year led to a scarcity. When in reality, there's probably a whole lot of that in warehouses or at different stores.
But it was exacerbated.
Yeah,
by people trying to make a buck.
People intentionally went out and bought as many as they could, hoarded them, resold.
Yeah, don't do that.
It's dirty. You don't need to.
Yucky. Do you have any other practices that you really hate? It's along the lines of the other ethics we talked about, just bad behavior in general. But these were a couple I think we didn't I don't remember specifically hitting on them in the last time we talked about ethics. So I just wanted to bring those up. So if you guys what have you seen out there? We would also like to hear that. What's the dirtiest thing that you've encountered out there in the wild west of resale? And thrifting, maybe you don't resell and you're just out there thrifting and you're seeing this stuff. We all have. I've heard tale, and I don't know if it's resellers, but from the Goodwill that we always talk about, I've talked to employees and I've heard of people stealing stuff out of people's carts, fist fights breaking out. That's just dumb. But I have heard of this happening. And I don't, like I said, I don't know if it's resellers, but it wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't, yeah. I would just be like, yep, it's resellers, just because probably the bad behavior we hear about.
Money
resellers.
Sometimes it shows you who a person is a lot of times, and sometimes that person's very ugly inside. So don't be a bad reseller, or we will call you out. We see you. But yeah, go ahead and throw those in the comments down there, and like and subscribe while you're there. But we want to hear what practices you've seen that are really bad. I'm sure there's some crazy ones out there. But now we'd like to segue.
Before,
you have another one?
So I did forget to mention, we went to this one garage sale.
Mm-hmm.
This was really funny. We pull up, and it's on this busy, rural freeway. And we pull up on the side of the road, we go up to this garage sale, and it's this family. And they keep yelling at each other, bickering at the sale about, no, put that down, or, hey, come look at this, like all this other nonsense. It was really weird. And then we find out the dog that's been running around was the people that stopped to look at the garage sale. They brought their dog out and just they were letting it run around, not on the leash, and they kept yelling at the dog because it kept trying to run into the road.
What in the world is wrong with people?
This was a really bizarre garage sale experience that we saw. It was really funny.
So reseller or not, don't do that.
Keep your dog on a leash if it needs to be on a leash.
Don't cause undue chaos. Goodness.
It was because we thought the family that was yelling at each other, we thought they were the resellers, and then we ended up in the garage because it was a big yard sale, and the person running the garage sale was like, I really hope these people leave. They've been driving me nuts for the past hour. And it was like, what in the world?
Why were they there for an hour?
I don't know. And they were letting their dog run around, and it kept running into the road, and their kid was being obnoxious, and it was a trip.
I can't believe the person running the sale didn't ask them to put their dog away at least.
It was really funny.
Oh, why are people so weird?
People are very interesting.
All right.
That's great.
Well, takes all kinds, I guess. I'm sure we'll see more as we go along, as we continue to be out there in the thrift verse. We need to get t-shirts to say that. All right. So we're going to go into a new topic, not quite directly related to this one, but we're going to talk a little bit about how to move your eBay inventory faster. Mm-hmm. So we're talking giving offers, accepting offers. What's your top advice?
And promoted listings.
And promoted listings. So,
the main thing I love to do, I do the $2 method.
Okay.
Anything under like $40, I will go ahead and send $2 off.
As soon as
somebody watches it, because to me, I'd rather them, if they're already watching it, I'd rather them go, you know what, $2 off is a pretty good deal. Boop, and they hit it. And I have an exception clause. Anything that's under $10, I'll go ahead and only send $1 just because it's 10% off and not 20%. Depending on what it is. If it's been listed for a long time, I'll do the $2 off. Because to me, $2 off, but I get the sale, is better than I get full price and the item sits for another 3 months. Just that in itself has gotten me a lot of extra sales. With specific items in between that $20 to $40 range, I'll go ahead and make it where it's like $3 off just to solidify that deal and get my items sold. But that in itself has probably earned me a couple $100 over the past year. Just $2 off. And it gets my items sold faster than just waiting for the right buyer to come along.
Yeah, I agree. I would say I don't have necessarily, or my sister and I don't have, I do most of it, but I also consult her, especially if it's something that's higher value or what have you. But I don't have like a specific formula, although I take into consideration things like my margins. So did I buy it really low, but it's actually worth a lot? all right, I have more wiggle room. I automatically, with a few exceptions, because sometimes you just can't build in much wiggle room because the value is just not high. You know, if it's a $10 item, it's a $10 item. You can't like build in a lot of wiggle room. Maybe you'll go down to $8, you know. Yeah. But if it's an item that like sometimes it sells for $90, sometimes it sells for $70, sometimes it sells for $80, and you paid $5 for it, okay, I can build in a lot of wiggle room. I can go high and be willing to come down a lot and still be happy. Yep. So when I can, I try to build in a generous amount of wiggle room where I would still be happy at this point, but, you know, will give us that window to work with to go back and forth with the buyer. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you do go back and forth. Sometimes they accept your offer. Sometimes they ignored your offer and don't even send a new one. Sometimes they counter. It just, who knows? I
have one item right now. I have something like 14 or 15 people watching the item.
Mm-hmm. Buy it. Come on.
And I've sent offers to all of them. Nobody's taken me up.
It's so weird.
And it got to the point where, you know, I was doing the $2 off because it's like an $18 item. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, $16. After the first month, I was like, you know what, $3 off, maybe 15. And the 6 or so people that have watched it since then, they haven't taken it up either.
What is it?
It's a shirt.
It's a shirt.
It's a Ralph Polo or Ralph Lauren.
What gets me is no one's sending an offer either.
No, so actually, I did get an offer.
Okay.
It was for $5.
Oh, jeez.
And I was like, no, it's for the same brand, same, you know, because it's from the 90s. They're selling about anywhere from $12 to $18. Some of them even a little higher than that. Being as mine wasn't as crisp, I was like, 18. It's actually under market. And just, I have people there watching it constantly. They just aren't taking the offer. I don't know what it is. I had one person actually ask me the dimensions of the shirt, which I already had posted in the listing. Mm-hmm. But okay, I'll tell them again. And then nothing. So who knows?
It's a fickle world out there.
But another thing I'll do, though, I'll go ahead, if an item sits for a while and I know that they don't sell that often, I'll drop it by a couple bucks.
Yeah.
Know? Which I don't want to do because I'd rather it sell for that average listing price. But I'd rather drop it by a little bit, like again, to maybe get more eyes on it and actually sell it.
Yeah, there's some stuff that it really, really depends on how long we've had something listed before I'll send offers or even before I'll accept offers.
Yeah.
So most of the time, if somebody sent me an offer for a couple bucks up, of course. Yeah. You know, or I'll send similar. But we had an instance recently where we had something listed and I, like, the day we listed it, someone sent me a low offer. And we countered with a much higher, like, I want to say the item was listed at 20. Mm-hmm. And we had it, I think they offered 20 plus shipping. And then I think they offered 12 plus shipping. And the shipping on it is a little high and it probably won't actually cost that much to ship that, but, you know, the estimated.
Yeah.
And I came back at $2 under what we listed it at. So I came in at 18 and I heard nothing.
Yeah.
But because it was the very day we posted it, we immediately have interest, which shows me that there is a market there for it.
Yep.
We're like, no, we'll wait. Yeah. And I might have been willing to go a little lower than my sister did. Sister was, because I did consult her on that, and she didn't want to come in super low. She often is wanting to come in higher than that. I want to get stuff gone, and she will like moderate that a little.
She wants the profit.
And and it depends. So in that case, if I just listed it, I'm probably not going to move a lot on it. Mm-hmm. If it has been there for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, whatever. Okay. And there was another instance this week, actually just the last day or two, that I had bought. And this goes doubly for items that I regret buying. We've talked about this before. Like, there's a few things sometimes that I get that I'm like, wish I had never picked that up. Mm-hmm. This was one of those. It's a weird thing, but I was at the bin, so I didn't pay much for it. And I don't even remember. I may have even intended to, like, put it back and didn't. But either way, it was a wooden box, and it's got, like, animals on it, and it's a souvenir from Australia, and it's got pencils in it. Mm. So it's a pencil box with pencils, and they were new. And it's a low value, not high value. Yeah. It's been on there a long time, like probably close to since we started reselling back in the spring, maybe early summer. And I think we had it listed at, oh gosh, I think it was at $5 plus shipping, or I don't know.
Something low where it was like...
Someone sent me an offer for like $450 or $415. I'm like, yes. I don't even care what the offer is at this point. Yes. Yeah. I will take it. And so there are things like that where if it's been sitting there long enough, any offer, sure. As long as we're not going to lose money. Yeah. So there's those factors. Those are the big factors, I think, is time and if it's something that's annoying that's been sitting around forever.
Something large, too.
Something large and annoying, yes. Yeah. Give me an offer and we'll take it, or I'll shoot you a more generous offer. I'll take $5 off so it can get down. Yeah. So those are the big factors that are there for me, is time
I think a big thing when I'm listing items too, because I don't like listing items under $5, because at that point, why?
No, I try not to list even that low.
Even that low, but it's like, I'm already looking the item up and I already have it right there. And go through the steps, list it, just because, why not? Because if you can sell it at $5, cool.
If I already have it.
If I already have it.
I don't try to source things that low.
No, by all means. No. Never source, that's its own topic, but don't source things under, $10 just because your time invested is worth more than $10. And
eBay fees are so steep that you end up with nothing.
Between the eBay fees, the taxes.
Yeah.
Anyway, but when you're listing items and let's say I took something, I listed it for $30 and somebody comes along first day, like you had where they really lowballed you, I'm not going to take it. Even if they come at me and it's like a more generous, like let's say I listed it for 30 and they're like 25. Mm-hmm. That's in that ballpark where I'm like, I'd be happy, but I might wait on it first and until my offer is going to expire, because maybe a customer will come along and buy it at full price.
Yeah.
Because it's just brand new listed, and I get that.
Yeah, because it shows, if someone's immediately jumping on it, it implies that there's a market there, and that it's a reasonably desirable item, to me anyway.
Yeah.
And this is kind of off topic here a little bit, but while we're talking about offers, we had something funny happen this last week. So we had a tea kettle that we were selling, and it's an English-made tea kettle. We might have even had it in the background of our videos before, I can't remember. It's a decent tea kettle. It shows wear, but it's in good shape, mostly. And I had an inquiry about it. They just asked if the tinning in the inside was, because you couldn't see from our photos all the sides of it. So I took some extra photos and sent it to the person, and then we got an offer. Well, they gave us an offer that was quite a bit off our listing price, right? It was still, it was still okay, but it was pretty far off what we had it listed for. And before I got anywhere to address it, they retracted the offer. And then sent me a new offer for $15 more. Oh. So I don't know if it's because there was a time delay and they really wanted the thing.
That could be.
And they're like, oh crap, I asked for so much off.
They could have even fat-fingered it.
Or what it was like they sent me a $50 offer and then retracted it, I don't know how long later, and then sent a $65 offer. And I accept, which I'm glad for.
Yeah.
We did accept the $65 off, or $65 offer, not off. It was a lot off what we had listed for, but it was obviously, if I'm getting a $65 offer, it's an expensive item, and I did not pay much for it. I think I paid, maybe $5? It was not much. And my sister did some cleaning on it. When I bought it, it was much dingier looking. So there was a little bit of work that went into sprucing it up for sale. But it was just an interesting situation where they retracted their offer and then sent me a higher one, which worked out to our benefit.
I had
$15.
I had something like that happen to me a few weeks ago. I was selling a couple Guitar Hero controllers. And the customer sent me an offer. I was busy at work, so I didn't see it right away. And it was within an hour. They just bought it outright.
Interesting.
Yeah. So sometimes having a little bit of patience can really pay off if you're a customer. Because honestly, the offer they sent, I was going to take it.
Yeah, you don't know.
I just
that
didn't
showed
get
how
to
much
it.
they wanted it, too.
Yeah.
And I think that plays into your benefit, that they might really want it. It could also be that she looked at how much we had it listed for again and felt like maybe her first offer was too insulting.
Mm.
Because we talked about on like practices that we hate for reselling, but there are people out there too that are very sensitive to being rude.
Yes.
And I have gotten offers where people emailed me or like they sent a message along with it and were like, I don't want to be insulting, but here's my offer. But I thought I would just ask.
Yeah. And
I appreciate that they don't want to be insulting. And it could have been that. Maybe she's like, oh gosh, I should have asked for so little. That looks rude or something. But it's just business, unless you're being really ridiculous. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. But the way that you source and the way that I source, we try to not invest too much funds into the items we're getting anyway. We just want to be able to get a fair market value for them as we're selling.
Yeah, and so if I got it cheap, I'm much more likely to work with somebody than there have been a few items that I paid on the higher end for me. Mm-hmm. Like we talked about, well, it might have been on camera, but I don't think it wasn't in an episode. Anyway, it might be in the outtakes. I sold a Department 56, which some of you may know are famous for their Christmas villages. They're kind of on the pricey collectible Christmas village end of the scale. And this was an animated sledding hill. So it had like a belt that would run through that had magnets on it, and these little people on sleds would like go around it. And I purchased that for $20, which is a lot. In my, well, I'm throwing stuff. In my point of view, because again, I'm cheap. $20 for an item that I'm going to resell is a lot. Because
that $20 can really mean 3 or 4 items.
Or you have to you have to have a margin. You have to sell it high enough on eBay to account for the fees, the shipping, all of these things. Well, I don't do free shipping, but even still, sometimes if you don't weigh it right or whatever, you have to account for all this stuff. And so I have to, at minimum, get that $20 back.
Yeah.
So it has to be I have to at least be able to get double of that. Or list it for double of that. And more often than not, I won't pay that much, $15, $20 for something if I can't get over double.
Right.
Market-wise. So I looked it up. This item in particular, this sledding hill, probably because it's one of them. It's it was a decent sized piece. It's animated. They are going for a good amount. And so I did purchase that one, but I paid $20 at Goodwill for this thing. And it wasn't like I bought it from an individual. Somebody had donated this to the Goodwill. So, I try to source cheap. And when I do, I can move more. Like at that item, my wiggle room was, I didn't have to take an offer. Somebody just bought it. But if I did, on those items where I'm paying $15, $20, I have to be more careful with the kind of deals I give, because I don't want to get to a point where I'm making $5 on something.
Yeah. Because
eBay took their huge cut, and then
you're left with pennies.
Yeah, yeah. So, but if I pick up something $3, $5, $1, if it's a decent value item, I can work with you.
Yeah.
And I do tend to work with it, because in my mind, I want things to move. I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah. So when it comes to moving items, another way is promoted listings. Have you messed with the promoted listings? And what's
Did we talk about this in a previous
I don't think we did.
Episode?
But we might have, but I don't think we did.
I have basically the same thoughts of it. I think we're aligned here. I do a 2% on everything.
I do 2% on everything with one exception.
What is it?
If I have an item that is over $50, I might toy with doing 5%.
Why?
If it hasn't sold within 3 months.
So you adjust it?
Yes. Okay. I'll go in there and I'll adjust it, because to me, yes, I'm losing a little bit more money to eBay, but it's still a premium item. I'd rather sell it than it just continue to collect dust in my garage.
That's true. I mean, that's fair, I guess is what I'm saying. So I guess can I poke at that a little more? So is it a strict 3-month range?
Not strictly, but it's more like, man, this item, I listed this item and it's been sitting there for a while. And it's more like longer than 3 months, because I'll go through my items. So
if you go through and you're like, gosh, this has been there since June.
Yeah. And I'll bump up the promotion. And that did get me a couple of golf clubs sold, which is nice.
So that was my other question was, have you seen a difference when you go up to 5%?
I did. Not by much, but I saw where before it was like, I got a few views and like 2 people watching. Bumped that promoted listing up by, from 2% to 5%, which I wouldn't go further than that probably, just because...
you really start giving eBay your money at that.
Yeah, because, and eBay recommends doing like,
of course 10 or
they do. 12%.
Of course they do.
No.
Yeah, they can take a full quarter of everything.
Yeah, no kidding. But by doing that, I did actually get the 2 items I had that I wanted to sell sold. And that was like, cool, nice. It meant I paid, because one sold for like 45 because I took an offer, and then another one was like 40 or 42. Okay. So it was just like, yes, I paid like $5 extra to eBay, but I sold the items. They were both competitive listings because there were other people selling the same item. And I sold them out of season because most golf season is spring through summer. I sold them in the fall. I don't have to deal with them anymore. Yep.
And they're big and, I mean, not big wide, but they're long.
They take up space. And I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. So
that's a good tip. I might have to go through my listings and see, just toy with it a little bit because I have a few things like that.
Not too much, just a little bit here and there. And like I said, I did that higher price range because yes, that's more funds to eBay. But for the cheaper items, I don't mind holding on to them. Like I still have some shorts and swimwear that I listed in the summer, didn't sell. I'm okay holding on to it in my bin.
You're going into spring break season here.
You get to spring break soon, and spring, and then we'll be back into summer. Well, if I already have that stuff listed, it's in my bin, fine.
You get those early birds.
It's light, it's easy to ship, or easy to pack and easy to ship. Not a problem. It's just more of the bigger items
that are in the way.
Yep. So.
That's good. That's a good tip. I might have to go back through and fine-tune some of my promoted listings. Did you have anything in particular otherwise? I would say, personally, just the small stuff. Watch your titles. Make sure you have enough keywords in your titles. Don't just put like a couple word title on there. Maybe switch around your titles.
Yeah, I'll go through some of my other listings, and every once in a while, like, if I have an item that's been sitting for a while, I'll look at that same item again and see what sold recently. Recompare and see, am I actually selling it at a decent price? Is it the structure of the title is weird? And I might even copy a different person's title and just change it out. Which, that's helped me a couple of times.
Yeah, so don't be afraid to, like, tweak your listings a little bit. Or if you haven't filled out all of the spaces where they have, like, the descriptors, maybe change those around or add some more in there to be more specific. But that's basically all I have for that. Do you have any other tips on how to move eBay inventory faster?
No. Give discounts. You can go through and drop prices. Yeah. But, how much do you want to drop it by? That's up to you.
Yeah. And if you have other tips that we didn't think of, again, as always, whatever topic we're talking on, if you have something to say, we would love to hear it. Throw it down in the comments. Thank you so much for joining us again today for this episode. Yeah, I guess we're done.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.